Hi, I am Nicole, and this is Pilates for folks who are recovering from COVID, particularly long haul. Although this class is totally appropriate for anyone who wants to take it slow, focus on breath, and only work out for about half an hour. So that being said, all you need is your folded up towel or blanket, or if you've got a bolster. I love this thing, and we're going to start with it under your hips. So I recommend having a seat, kind of scoot yourself into the middle of your mat or work area, lie yourself down, and then place it right under your tush. If you're using something like me that's folded up, try to feel that it's even. You know, if there's a part that's a little bulkier than the other, you might want to try to flatten it out, or just feel that your hips are even as opposed to like kind of tipping over to one side or the other. Also, once you're up here, it's like the heaviest part of your pelvis is right on top. It's not over the edge this way or behind the edge this way. It's right on top. So you have this sense of lift. You might start to already feel the abdominal wall kind of naturally scooping in and up in this direction. Check in on your shoulders and your back, that they're not scrunching up. You can bring your arms down by your side. And just like that, settle in. Take a few breaths. There's Z right in the corner. So what's nice about this position is that you have the back of your rib cage a little free. It's not pressing into the mat. So you can feel your breath perhaps moving into the back. You might even, if you want, place your hands kind of right underneath your ribs, touching here. My elbows are resting, but my hands are pressing up into my back body. And try to feel that back body move with breath, meaning when I inhale, it expands down into my hands a little bit. Oftentimes we're tight in our back for, any number of reasons. Usually it's because we're sedentary for too long in the day. And then these muscles get tight and we lose the capability for those muscles to sort of expand with breath. And we're actually limiting our breath capacity because our back just isn't moving, isn't making room for the air to take up space. So a few more moments like this. If you're working on your breath in other ways and you want to focus on getting longer, deeper breaths, try to breathe in and out through the nose. Second best option is inhale through the nose and out through the mouth. Even if it feels like you're maybe stuffy from allergies like I am, take your time. Inhale through that nose and you can exhale out through the mouth. All right, bring your arms down by your side. On your exhales now, you're going to start to pull your abdominals in and up, meaning in and towards the back of your lungs. So whenever you exhale, there's a chance for you to feel that scooping up towards the back of your body and the back of your heart. Now, when you inhale, you're still trying to keep a little bit of that engagement. It's not a belly breath. When you're ready, on one of your exhales, you're going to zip your abs up, prepare, and lift one leg up to tabletop. Inhale to lower. You need those abs engaged to lower the leg. Exhale to lift, rather. And inhale to lower. So remember, if you're finding it hard to keep your abs engaged as you inhale, remember, you can breathe into your back. You have all of this space to breathe into, so you don't need to lift your belly so much to breathe. And if, like me, you're mixing up the breath, it's fine. Just breathe. Keep your belly engaged. The exhale as you lift is a suggestion. Now notice for yourself if your hips are sort of shifting every time you lift a leg up. See if you can keep your hips really still on this bolster.
That's also your abdominals working to do that. You'll notice when you switch from one leg to the other, you put one leg down, your abs have to hold to lift the other leg up without shifting. Go at your own speed also. I'm not sure if I mentioned that at the top. If I'm going too fast, please go a little slower. And then you're going to lift one leg up and hold it. Engage your abdominals, feel them pulling in and slightly up, like you're tightening a tight pair of pants or a belt. And then lift your other leg up. Hold right here. You want your knees right over the hips. Your pelvis is still heavy on the whatever this is, the bolster, right? It's not pressing back or arching forward. It's right where it was. From here, touch your knees and your big toes together, and you're going to push your legs out to a high diagonal and then pull them back in. This one's a toughie. So breathe as you move, but as you push your legs out, really feel like you're pushing the wall in front of you away and then pulling it back in. If you use your imagination to do that, you will feel muscles in your legs and your abdominals working. Sometimes I like think of an elephant, like I'm trying to push an elephant away because elephants are really heavy. I'd have to work hard and then pull the elephant back in. I change my mind. Push. If you think of something heavy, your abs will engage. They'll say, oh, I better help these legs out, and brace as you push and pull. Last one. Now you can bring those knees into your chest. Let your hips kind of tuck up, and you can draw some circles here. If you're tight in your lower back, you might feel a nice stretch. Reverse your circles. And then whenever I do that, I usually have to put my feet down and like readjust the bolster and bring your legs back to tabletop. So once you're there, you're set up. Find that little scoop again, that hollowing out of your abs. You don't want the abs to bunch up when they're working. You want them to be in. And you're going to keep the legs right here at tabletop. If you get tired in this position, put your feet down, okay? But if you can hold them and hold your abs, you're going to inhale, float the arms up. Maybe even go a little further back than your shoulders, and exhale, press them down. Inhale to float them up. Fill up that back with air and exhale. Press them down as if you're pushing through water or pudding even. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. When you exhale, feel those abdominals pull in. Exhale every little bit of breath out of your lungs to inhale. And fill up with fresh air and exhale. We're doing 4 more of these. Inhale. And exhale. Abs, 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 abs. Inhale. And exhale. Last breath, inhale. And exhale. And bring the knees in. Hug your right leg in and stretch your left leg long. And just check in with yourself. You might feel a little lightheaded if you haven't breathed that hard in a while. But hopefully you're also feeling like you really woke up your lungs. You're getting a little more breath capacity out of each sort of regular human breath that you're doing now. Also, you're stretching the front of this left leg. Switch sides. All right, take your feet to the floor, gingerly lift your hips up, pull that towel or bolster out from under your tush and lower your hips down. And let's just take a moment to rest here and let your back come to a neutral position. It might feel kind of strange, but hopefully there's a little bit more of your lower back on the mat than would be usually. All right, flip over onto your side here, help yourself up, take your time if you're feeling a little lightheaded from all the breathing. Take your towel or bolster right into the top part of your mat and you're gonna lay down on top of it. Basically, the towel is gonna be behind your sternum, behind your chest. So you're gonna lower yourself down with your heart on top of the bolster. When you put your head back, you're gonna feel a little like, oh, open, a bit of an arch. If this is weird on your neck, you might try putting your hands behind your head and holding it like this. Sometimes that's helpful. And we're actually all going to end up like this at some point. But if this still feels like, oh, I don't like it, you're going to scooch a little down so that the towel is a little higher up, maybe right behind your chest more than the middle part of your heart and chest area, right? I'm going to come back to this position. So I feel more of that opening in my chest. We talked about opening the back before for breath. Now you're opening up the front. Here, this part can also get tight, especially because we spend all this time on phones and computers. We want to open it up. If you don't need your hands behind your head, you might have your arms out to the side. So you get that full width across your back and chest, I should say. Whew. All right. So you're going to take some time here. If you want to like stay here for a little longer, you can, but I'm going to get moving. So I'm going to bring my hands back behind my head and start to feel like my hands are pressing into my head and my head is pressing gently into my hands. And what that's doing is waking up my sort of upper back and shoulder muscles. Not so much my neck, it's really my upper back and shoulders that are pressing into each other. And then from there, I'm gonna lift my shoulders and head up and then lean back. So this idea of pressing your head into your hands while you're curling up may feel a little weird, a little counterintuitive, right? But it's actually gonna help you stay out of your neck in your curl up, right? A lot of times we get tense in our neck. If you press your head back, you're going to keep the length of your neck and encourage those upper abs to work instead. Now, if you want a challenge here, you're going to stretch your legs out long and do the same thing. Wherever your legs are, want to feel length in the front of your body. Remember, breathe how you want. Move as fast or as slow as you feel like is useful to you. We're just warming up and like moving this upper back, this thoracic spine around. Last one, and you're going to hold up here if you can. All right, so my arms are working a little. They're holding my head up. My head is kind of leaning into my hands. It might be more of a lean than a press. All right, but I'm still trying to reach my ribs forward towards my hips here so my abs are nice and flat and engaged. Holding here, reach one arm forward, bring it back, reach the other arm forward. Nothing else changes ideally. Ooh, this is not easy. You could also still be here, right? Doesn't make it that much easier, but a little bit. All right, one more like this. And you can do one of two things. You can keep going, or you could take a break. You could lean back. And I guess there's another third thing that you could do that I meant to say is you could do this. This is the hardest one. You're going to reach both arms forward and back and forward and back. Can you keep the work in your abs as you reach the arms forward? Ooh, and then keep the work in your abs as you reach the arms back. That's kind of the hardest part, is actually putting your arm weight behind your head and keeping it working in here. This is not easy. Last one, and then we're done with this. Oh my gosh, lean back. If you hate this lean back, just slide the thing out from under you and lay back on your mat flat, okay? If it feels good still, you can stay with it. Ooh, okay, roll off of this thing to your side. You're gonna take it out from under you and bring it in front of you. And then you're gonna lay down on your side. We're gonna work on the hips a bit and your tush. So you're gonna lay down like this or like this, whatever feels better on your neck. But with your body, you wanna feel it's very long. There's a temptation here to kind of like curl up like we're in bed and get comfy. But I actually want you to stay pretty long and tall in your side here, or like this way tall, and then stick your legs out slightly in front of you. So here's the tricky part. Look at your hips and try to get them stacked one on top of the other. Sometimes it feels like they're stacked and they're actually not. So I gotta like look at them, see them, okay. Think about lifting this bottom waist up off of the floor. Even if it technically doesn't lift, you want it to be actively pulling away so that this side doesn't drop. Okay, see that when I lift, it helps keep my hips stacked. So your feet are together. You can flex them or point them, honestly, whichever one you want. But you're gonna start to lift this leg up and down. If this begins to feel like just a lot of work that you're not ready for, you could try lowering your head down. Kind of makes the angle of work a little easier, not much. Or you could also bend your bottom knee a little forward and just float it up. This is still kind of hard, but this will give you a little bit wider base of support. So those are some options. Otherwise, you're trying to lift your waist up. Should be able to stick maybe a piece of paper under there. And then lift it up and hold. So from here, you're gonna reach it back and then start to bicycle your leg. This is kind of up to you how big of a range of motion you do, but basically you want to keep your abdominals engaged in this part of your body pretty darn still. You can use your hand into the floor to help as you circle your leg around, getting this hip joint to get some movement in there, get some juice flowing. We're only going to do, I think this was, I meant to do 5 at least, and then reverse for 5, back pedal. So ideally you're feeling this work, like you're holding your abs in, so that's always there. And then this part side of your hip and butt is starting to get a little tired holding your leg up. Lower it down. From here, you can bend the knees both. Again, you can be here or down, right? You're gonna lift your knee up and lower it. By the way, when you brought your knees forward, did you drop your waist? I did. Keep it lifted, right? Keep that sense like it's trying to lift, even if it's still touching the floor. Ooh, that'll wake this muscle up more. You'll be able to isolate your hips better. 3, 2, and 1, and lower it down. You can give yourself a little massage. We're doing the same thing on the other side, so you can just roll over to make life easier for you, and I'll still talk you through it. Or you can flip over to keep facing your screen. So you're gonna lie down, and then there's that tricky part of like laying down in just the right way so you feel really tall and you can see your hips are stacked so that you can lift your bottom waist up. Hand is here for help. Lift your leg up. And I genuinely forgot what we ended up doing because I was like changing my mind mid move here. So let's go in for bicycles. I don't even know what was going on in my head. 2, 3, I think we just did leg lifts. I showed you all of these different variations and I confused myself. We'll do the reverse and then we'll do those leg lifts. Three, 2, it's hard to move slow. Last one. And lower down, and then you lift up and lower. Keep that waist lifting and lowering. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. Just a few more. Are you still breathing? Sometimes I forget. And then lower down. So now let's keep that waist lifted as you bend your knees slightly forward. It's kind of like a sideways tabletop. And you're going to start to lift the knee and lower it, keeping the waist. 3, 4, 5. We're doing 8, 7, and 8. Okay, so right from here, you're just gonna lay down on your back. We're gonna stretch it out a little bit. So cross your right ankle over your left knee, pull your left thigh towards you. And you should feel a stretch in the outer right hip of this top leg, yeah? Now, if you want a deeper stretch, you can pull the left leg in more, and then this right elbow can push into your right knee for a deeper stretch. If you're super flexible and your legs really just collapse in, you might really need to push and play around with positioning to find the best stretch. And then switch sides. Cross your left ankle over the right. You can grab your right thigh, push your left elbow into the knee here. This is my really tight side, so can't push that much. Okay, so now that bolster that we had, you're gonna grab it and place it in between your thighs. If it's long like this, that's great. You can kind of put it up and down the whole inner thigh bone. And then however wide your bolster is, that's what you should aim for your feet to be. I know it's hard to tell, so just kind of see if you can eyeball it, but you definitely don't want your feet wider like this to squeeze in like this, okay? You want them to be quite close together, arms long by your side. So give that towel bolster a little squeeze, and then open only halfway. Squeeze, release only halfway. Squeeze and release. So keep that up and start to feel that every time you hug your towel, your lower abs engage more, and you hug and release. Hug and release. Squeeze and release. Squeeze and release. Squeeze. Squeeze, really. Trying to build that connection. We're practicing this inner thigh to lower ab connection. Okay, squeeze them and hold. Doesn't have to be the biggest squeeze of your life. It shouldn't be. It's just a little engagement. And then you're going to tuck your pelvis and lift your hips up into a bridge. Keep the squeeze. Notice if your knees started to float away from that towel or bolster like mine did. Keep them hugging in. These muscles are so important for balancing when we walk around through the world. So we really want to feel that inner thigh and how the hamstrings and glutes also help to lift. Find that length in the front and lower. You're doing 3 more. Of course, you can always do more or less. Okay, last one. Hold, squeeze it 10 more times, little pulses. Squeeze, 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 and squeeze. Oh, that wasn't nothing. You're gonna take your hips down, take the bolster out. And if it feels comfortable, you're gonna open those knees up, bringing the soles of the feet together, taking a little inner thigh stretch. You might, if you're quite tight or if it feels like, oh, you might take your hands and sort of hold up your legs a little bit. You might rock a little left to right. But if this feels fine, you can just lay here and hold it for a moment. Okay,
You can help your knees back together with your hands. Roll over onto your side again, help yourself up. And then come onto all fours. Take your time if you need to. But you're gonna have your wrists right under your shoulders and your knees right under your hips. This is another one of those things that's kind of hard to tell. So just kind of try to see yourself from the side. See your knees right under your hips. So when you're in this position, you want to find a really long spine to start. So that means you're not rounding or you're not arching yet. You're reaching your head and tailbone in opposite directions, parallel to the ceiling or floor. So from here, you can push into your round spine, look deep into your belly, and then lengthen your tailbone and head away from each other as you arch. It's your cat-cow. But feel that your arms are really strong and long. The elbows don't need to bend. We want the spine to be doing the bending. Oh, you know what? Something to notice is if your knees are even, like I'm noticing my left knee is in front of my right a little, like by a hair. So I'm going to go ahead and bring myself into even knees. There we go. Round and arch. A lot of times if we're a little stronger or shorter or tighter in one side than another, when we get into positions like this, we'll be a little uneven. And just simply by putting our sort of body in the right position, we can stretch the tighter sides. We can strengthen the weaker sides. Just by getting symmetry in our bones. All right, you have options. You can keep doing this. You could tuck your toes. This is hard. You're going to lift the knees up 1 inch and then around and arch your spine. So now you're holding all of your body weight up, hopefully in your abs, but also in your arms and legs. And you're still trying to get all that nice movement in your spine. You have 1 or 2 more rounds. Feel it out what you have today. And then find a long spine, lower the knees down, untuck your toes if that's what you did, and then sit back and walk your hands forward. If the floor seems really far away in this child's pose, go ahead and grab your bolster and put it under your forehead. It's really, I think, really key that you rest your head on the mat in your child's pose so that you're not holding up this heavy, heavy brain of yours while you're trying to stretch and relax. Now, if you've got a bolster, you might need to scooch it out of the way, but you're going to take one arm across and under you and turn towards that kind of hand, and you can walk your other arm up and away. Breathe into your back again. Here you can also breathe into your belly. I can feel my belly pressing into my thighs. And gingerly you'll switch sides. Take your other arm under and across. Walk your other hand. Finish up this last breath. Take your hands under your shoulders and help yourself up. Now that you're up and tall, hopefully this is a comfortable position to sit in. Just try to feel like your breath is filling up your whole body 360 degrees around. So not just chest breathing up here, but breathing into your back body, breathing into the sides, breathing even into the lower part of your torso. You can end up taking these really nice big breaths without tightening parts of your body, but actually finding space and expansion. And you are all done. Thank you for joining. If you like this class, please pass it on. I'm working on a sort of public radio model. So if you've got a couple of bucks to throw my way, that's great. My Venmo and PayPal handle is in the description. And I also give 25% of all proceeds to my local mutual aid organization, Equality for Flatbush. So yeah, thank you.